Happy Wednesday, welcome back to the podcast. Episode number 41 is here and we are back to the hot topic or topic of the week, the way that you prefer to call it. For today will be Simracing Esport versus Immersion. I will question where esport relies or needs the immersion to survive and what is immersion on my point of view. I think the timing of this discussion could not be better considering the recent developments. In one hand we have the update of Automobilista 2 featuring a new historic DLC that enhanced the immersion, taking us to different eras of racing, on this case F1 from 91 and F1 from 93. In other hand, I think the role of esport is under some scrutiny, especially in the wake of the challenge faces on F1 Sim Racing Championship and all the calls that happen on ESL R1, which I will delve in shortly. I cannot continue without saying to Thomas Warner that he put 99% of the F1 Sim Racing Twitter and X in his pocket. I think the kid went from an absurd amount of hate for some false accusations and proof on the LAN in the F1 Sim Racing Championship that he deserved everything. Well done Thomas for the strength and well done for the fact that you keep your head up and face it like you've done it. I will say to you that probably not everyone will go through everything that you pass it and will be with the strength that you showed this week. As you can see, the topic automatically is subjected to contradict opinions in the way of we see sim racing and enjoy sim racing himself. Remember, I'm an amateur, so when it comes to sim racing, take all my opinions always with loads of salt, but leave in the comments what you think about it. You can comment on YouTube, but you can leave a comment in the Spotify too. Just scroll down on the episode, we'll have a chance to do it, and while you do it, subscribe, hit the like button, and the same on the audio. Give us 5 stars and, keep pushing. Our podcast is almost reaching the 250,000 downloads. And that could not happen without the help of Samsung and the crazy 49-inch OLED curve monitor with 214 Hz that had put my gaming rig to the completely crazy levels. P.S. I need to make a review, but that will come I think when I'm feeling a little bit better. I think my edits are not the best, but let's go back to sim racing. Hot topic or topic of the week, depending on the way you want to call it. For me, exists a different spectrums inside of sim racing, from esport to the immersion part. On the esport, you have two types. Normally you have a person or a driver that already have a story as a professional driver in junior categories, from karts or even to open wheelers. But unfortunately, despite the talent, didn't have the money or the way to get a sponsor to keep progressing, and I think it's on sim racing that they shine and come in some way to bring back and push probably to a real life career. You see that with Lucas Blackley, you see that with Diogo Pinto and much more drivers. On the other hand, you have a person that found in sim racing a way to push his craft, that understand how to take the maximum of the car and of course understand repetitiveness, replay and do it again and again and pass hours and hours developing it. In terms of immersion, is completely different. You have our average Joe keyboard or on controlling, playing here and there where they can, using the maximum possible time, enjoying sim racing, from arcade to even hardcores, a lot of them faster than a wheel player. You have guys like me having a couple of different wheels to adapt to the car, the series they will race with handbrake, each pattern, then to get the immersion or try to replay in your heads what is driving the interminate car. Track back often in online, but a lot of them in single player, as is my case. And I'm not fast anymore for any time of online racing. You have after the big guys, the guys that have completely different types of wheels, that have the possibility to have the most crazy sim racing setups, and they bring the immersion to other level. A lot of them are real drivers using it to training or to get knowledge on the tracks and to update their craft and skills about it. Now that I break the type of players, in my opinion, that exist in the spectrum of sim racing and esport, you can understand that immersion and esports can go a way long. But let's focus on what is immersion on my point of view. Immersion comes from different areas, can be a way that you involve in the racing, that you feel it. Some of us just for driving a rally car in the handbrake, a shifter, 3 sets of pedals already have that feeling, others need to add the VR set to take them a little bit further or even use a motion system. On my case, I love to jump to a classic kart track pack, classic, BTCC, old school DTM, touring cars, love Mazda Cup, Clio Cup bring me always close racing. You can say that is nostalgia or simply because I'm not anymore technic, but A-shifter, even to braking, that by the way I'm doing really bad on the moment, but immersion is always depending on the form that you feel and the form that you see it. For a lot of people that immersion is connected to having the best set, to having, like I said, the emotion, the VR set. On my case, and what I want to talk today is, for me, immersion, I think, is connecting to using our sense and collecting to the way that we embrace the race and our nostalgia. And as a content creators, we have 2 great examples. Let's put a hand on Cardog, amazing guy with crazy videos and setups that you see on his YouTube. He was already on the podcast on episode 34, and you can see that he's a big fan of immersion. In his case, he have motion rigs, VR sets. But let's see on his words. He said that he loved motion system and his immersions, but he used it low to not distract him from the racing. That immersion bring him, according with him, a most faster racecraft. On the other hand, we have a content creator that don't use any motion or any VR and rely in what I'm telling about in nostalgia, in the doping connection with emotions by using a way to reproduce his way of racing on a pass, and that have to be GPL laps. Probably will be the best name to nominate in terms of immersion connecting to our sense. With the CSL DD and spherical pedals, edge shifter and brake, he brings us the perfect content and he can transcribe the emotional and the immersion from his races to us at home. So we can see that with the proper gear or with some gear we can immerse ourselves in have a sim racing and how we connect it and how the way that we involve on that. And I think our brain and our senses make a bigger part of it. First we have the sound. So with the good headphones, the way that the sound can perfect, we can transcend us to the way and the way that we feel the car, the way that we visualize the racing. Other part is of course our eyes, the way that we interpret the races. Some people need triple screens, other people need just a wider screen or a normal monitor. So that's depending on the way that we see it. Of course, VR you achieve in a different perspective, but I think none of that going to be depending on our budget and depending on the way that we achieve it. Otherwise, you need the touch and the vibration. I said touch and vibration because I think they are connected. We can do it from the force feedback, and that will be always related to the type of wheels that we have. You know, if you use a belt one, you know that it's going to be just 1.5 to 2 newtons. It's not the same that you have a CSL with 5 or 8 depending if you have the power. The Monza are 9, Monza are 12, and of course Aztec Fortes and much more with 21 sim cubes and much more. And some of us need the touch and vibration. That can be achieved by the force feedback, on the right force feedback on your wheel. Of course, if you are on belt one and on Logitech, that will be more difficult to achieve it. But if you have a good proper wheel with a CSL, DD, Monza R9 or even higher ones, you know that force feedback is there and you rely a lot on that. All of us, we use it, of course, the motion sensor that we're already talking about, but that is for people that can achieve it. Are cheaper versions as active pillows that are coming now that bring some vibration to our seat and help us to achieve that sensation of touch and the way that the car is moving. Other people that already saw, they've been using a fan connecting to the PC and adjust the speed depending how fast they go on the track and simulating the win. That technology is, and sim racing is evolving and is taking a step further on the way that you can achieve in different ways the immersion, but that's going to be always depending on your pocket. So you can see that immersion in sim racing not equal to realism, but that immersion will depending not on deep in your pockets, but depending on the way that you embrace yourself in a race. But let's see, immersion should be used on esports. Well, esports, you want to have a strong equipment that provides you enough data in terms of force feedback, Newton torques, load cell pedals, and why? Because you want to replay and redo it about how to get faster. If esport drivers enjoy the same way as we drop in our imagination of sim racing, I cannot say it, but I see it more as a redo it, do it faster, keep doing until it's perfect and try to minimize any type of error at all. And that's why a lot of esports series can't captivate the audience. I think esport is just on top of the iceberg. 2020 and the COVID times, that iceberg came out, sprout to the world, but straight away have hit the plateau barrier, and until manage to get the people attached to the screen the way that you get in real life series, I think we cannot evolve. If real sport needs the immersion side of sim racing, I cannot say it, but you have to look at other things. So first, the cost of production of a series with full immersion rigs and everything, and the cost of running a team and adapting the team to the way that is the series. So running an esport team is already with loads of costs, and that immersion will bring it even crazy. Now, realism and immersions bring more people to the esport. That will be hard to say. ESL R1 was going in a good way, but still have some flaws. I think they hit a plateau now, and the last event in Sweden we went really well, but still not perfect in terms of views on live. We have a lot of views coming back, but not views on live. And in terms of the steward decisions, as you saw, was a lot of calls and a lot of things that make a lot of drivers upset. Other things that make people upset is the way that the game still in develop. You know, the community is always a little bit rumble about how we can see a series it, we don't know the game, and how can we adapt it. The game changed it, the series changed the way that you see sim racing, and we saw now the F1 sim racing series adapted it, but it's not the same way. Of course, F1 sim racing series had started with the wrong fit. We know that had some bad calls, was not announced properly, some disagreement between the F1 teams and the F1, or with the F1 series and the ESL R1. So we don't know a lot because people tweeted it was prize pools and the blah blah blah. But until now, or until further notice, we cannot say it, or you cannot argue it that this was this or not. But the LAN event set up even further. You can see that was 24, I think the maximum 25, the peak on when the racing was going. That is already good for sim racing, far away from the numbers in 2020, but good. The numbers now after the live or after the stream have been going up and going crazy, and that is good too, but still very far away from series as FIFA, Tekken, Dota or CSGO, of course. We need more? Yes, absolutely. They need to change, probably too. We need probably more behind the scenes. That is already what ESL are doing, the same thing with F1 sim racing, but they need to captivating a little bit more, do probably bring by episodes or bring a different way. One of the best series in terms of esport, I think, is the NASCAR one. They have different divisions. They have the college division, they have after the main division. They take the people after to drive on a real car, so it's something that captivates too. But they already been doing, I think, for 23 years, and they still cannot produce big numbers. And one of the things that esport is not working properly, I think, have to be with the fact that when you turn your PC to see one of the series, you see they're driving on a Podium DD or on the Moza or on each type of wheelbase they're driving. They are using quite similar gears that you have at home. You see them racing, you have the game, and automatically your brain will say, oh, I can do it, and automatically you prefer to jump than to see. So in sim racing esport, I think they have, like I said, they have to bring a step further for connectors that we are at home and make us stay more connected to the game. You can always argue that, okay, but Tekken Tournament, CSGO, FIFA, Dota, and other ones, they don't have more than what you have at home. And that's true, but the cost for them is a PC, a console, a monitor, a good keyboard, a controller, and a mouse. In sim racing, you upscale the cost of every player for 5 to 10 times more. Wheelbase, rig, seat, pedals, monitor, so it's totally completely different level and simple. They cannot copy paste the formula and work it in esport in other games to sim racing. For many content creators, sim racing esport is dead. I will leave this for another topic in the podcast and give you a proper synapse of what is and what isn't is. But I think esport is going a little bit more down, and on my point of view, immersion should come to sim sports, and we need to bring something more to captivate it. Another contest, sim racing or sim racing esport, need a different format to work and grow even more. Is on the right path, yeah, but I think still have a lot to uncover. So back to the news. As you don't know, or on my Twitter is not the best because I don't have so many people, but Discord is on. You can tell me your opinion about the podcast. You can put what you want to hear on the hot topics of the week. You can put questions to the drivers and suggestions. We're gonna have John Morrow, we're gonna have Danny Gize, you're gonna have Annie GT, Oliver Solberg on the podcast, and more people that I cannot talk yet, but you're gonna have quite good real drivers, sim racers. So jump on the Discord, that's gonna be on the link, and please give a suggestion. And if you are on Discord, please bring videos for we using on the 3 videos of the week, and of course on the sim racing photos carousel that been starting already on the last Monday. So best photos, and let's drop your best photos of sim racing. Let's have a good community. Normally I will drop the best ones, 5 to 10 is what I gonna think so, and let's try to bring some part of sim racing that sometimes go a little bit obscure, that is the photo mode on the games. The first one we have to be Sim Racer drove our race car and this happened. Great video from Daniel Morad. In the resume is what the video says. 16 sim racing drivers had the pleasure of drive the GT4 Mercedes AMG for 6 to 7 laps. And you can see it is a vlog, but it's super addicted. And you want to understand that sim racing prepare them to drive it and to get ready to be on that car. So I think immersion of sim racing and the way that you involve yourself on the sim racing can adapt yourself to a race. Then Suzuki give us another great content, and this time is about an app for your triple monitors. In the video is simple, they just show us a better alternative to the SRWE and is resize Raccoon. It's a great video in my opinion, simple but in a good way, and teach you very well how to incorporate it. On my last video was to bring a video from GP Labs, as probably is the best video about immersion, and I was also talking about the way that he made a video about the 93 GP in Portugal in Estoril, the way that he tried the new 1.53 Automobilista second update, but I changed. I think for the third video, Lawrence was drop a video on last Monday, and the video is quite simple. Is wheels that we're using on the McLaren and on the Lotus from the 80s and the 90s. So that is all about immersion. So bring visually the wheel of Formula 1 car to your rig and to adapt yourself and to immerse yourself in the racing. So a little bit of that sense of visualization, like I say, give to your brain to visualize yourself on the track, visualize yourself inside of that cockpit, and of course the feeling of the wheel, the way that you put yourself on that track combo that you're going to choose if you are on the 86 Grand Prix, or if you are on the 90s, beginning of the 90s on the McLaren Grand Prix. It's been a while that we talk about news, and I will not talk a lot about what is coming with the iRacing, that you know that's coming new cars, but we'll focus only on 2 games. Rensport had released, according with them, 15,000 new keys for the beta, and the 1.6 update is now. 2 new tracks, Road Atlanta, home of Petit Le Mans, and Daytona Road Course, both icons in America's superstar or in America's sports racing, are joining the title. Both will be available on the new update. Potential with Daytona is a pure off-speedway configuration as well. Also with this update are 2 brand new additions in the shape of TCR cars, so touring cars finally. And now we have the Audi RS3 LMS and Hyundai Electra NTC, both of which are front-wheel drive and completely different finally from the GTs that been dropping. Automobilista 2 1.5.3 like everyone say, another game changer if you put it on a thumbnail or you make a video on YouTube, but the fact that it is a great update. On the new DLC, they are historic cars and historic trucks. F1 high-tech, how they calling it, with McLaren MP4/7 and MP4/8, and a couple of generic ones, as normally do, at 4 tracks: Catalonia 91, Montreal 91, Interlagos 91, and 93. But the big shine will be the way that AI and the way how it's working. Completely blow my mind. The races feel complete. I think bring a very good gameplay to single mode. Is probably one of the best games in terms of historical immersion. So GP Labs is one of the big guys that's been enjoying it, and I need to take my or say thank you to Razer, because finally they bring the game in a good mode and the games finally start making more sense to us. In the part of some of the updates, only one of the things I didn't like it was the suspension. They say that changed a lot of updates. I just tried a little bit, but I didn't feel that suspension was trying. I feel that the car was bouncing, but I didn't feel any force feedback on the suspension. Of course, I was using just a Thrustmaster. I need to put the Monza R9 and the CSL-DD, but until now I didn't have time or strength to use them, so I've been enjoying with more lower newtons and doing on a different ways. Hardware is here, and after the Black Friday everyone for sure had stock up the sim racing gears, but let's check what is new. Fanatec new wheel rims, official license by Sparco. On the total are 4 new wheels. The former wheel caught my attention, being at 270mm in diameter, is a versatile choice for racing styles from Formula Racing to street cars. You have the karting wheel, a replica of the Key G345 that brings a unique design and octatorial feel. 350mm with noticeable larger, making an interesting choice for karting. The GT wheel, replica of the Sparco P310 that already been using on a Thrustmaster, if you remember, many years ago, maintains the elegance and comfort of a Sparco, as you know. 310mm as the name say, and its balanced choice for a variety of racing scenarios. And finally, a race wheel, a replica of the R383, similar to what Thrustmaster have it, but a little bit small. Is 320mm and strike a balance between control and the way that you maneuver. Fanatec have designed these wheels and seamlessly integrated with their ecosystem. You can use with a universal hub or even with a new rally hub that you saw already come. SimCurvalo GT23 wheel with advanced features including dual clutches with all effect sensors, 18 RGB LEDs for telemetry effect, thumb rotary encoders, shifter with N52 magnets, button and with durable 8-pin tactile switches and more. The D-shaped wheel is made of Alcantara and aluminium, ensures a versatile and durable racing experience, and I think looks good. According to Immersion is one of the best, if not the best wheel for GT, and let's see what the reviews say, but it's promising. To finish, Unspoken magnet shift sequential shifter, a versatile and compact shifter for rally cars, GTs, touring cars and classic racing. The magnetic shift system provides realistic forces, and the shifter includes 3 extra buttons integrated in this base. With the Unspoken smart control software, user can configure it up to 10 fully customized outputs, turning the mag shift into a mini button box. According with the videos, you can see that you can adapt the strength of a shifter. I never drive a shifter on that way, so I don't know if you need to adapt on that way, but according with them is a different update and a different way of sim racing experience, and we are always about immersion and to upgrade our sim racing experience, so let's see. Thank you so much for being part of the podcast. Next podcast, we're gonna have health read. We're gonna talking about socks, or a different part of sim racing. We're gonna have Gonçalo. This episode was already recording on the summer and taking a little bit to drop not because I've been forgetting, but because they was talking about some sparkle socks and something new, and take a little bit more time to deliver. So I think the best way was me waiting for be completing on the market and drop the content. I really think you're gonna like it because Christmas is coming. We are all about immersion, and I think socks are one of the best parts. Remember, hit the like button, comment both of the audio and video versions, and most important, join our Discord community. We are approaching once again the 250k downloads, so let's make it happen together. Cheers guys!